All right, good morning, Bumble Jeepers. Um, it's your friendly neighborhood Jeeper man. Yeah, I don't think I'll use that again. Anyhow, this is part two from yesterday. It is, what time is it? It's 11:30, Friday morning. Getting ready to go up and visit my old friend Kirky Poo. Um, yeah, I don't know if that's focusing or not. Anyhow, gonna put the roof racks on. Um, so let's get set up for that. There's that. Um, yeah, set up the stool, and let's see if our parts are dry yet. So I came back over last night. A friend of mine called. He has a vehicle sitting here. Ooh, that was kind of coolish. Wanted to know if it was still sitting here, so I drove over to make sure. And while I was here, I thought, why not check it and see if they're dry. Feels pretty dry. These are the cross pieces. They're pretty dry. These are the racks. Ooh, yeah, I forgot I set them up on sockets. So they're pretty dry. And it's kind of hard to, just knock that on the floor. See, it's not really a gloss. It's like a semi-gloss or a satin finish, which is pretty close to what it was originally. What was on here before I started. Got to get all of those out of here. Those old sockets come in handy for something. So what was on these before I started putting them back on was, I think it was the same finish. It's just that over the years it had gotten oxidized. I paid $50 for a 66 Fairlane when I was about 18 years old. And I'll turn it around. So when I was about 18 years old, I bought a 66 Fairlane for $50. I bought it off of a guy, same name as me. He had a Fiat dealership down in the Reading area, Sinking Spring, or not Sinking Spring, what was that called? West Lawn. West Lawn? Yeah, probably. It's been a while. So anyhow, he had taken it in on trade. He was going to junk it. When I bought it, I thought it was blue. Turns out it was black. What I did for him was very light mechanical work, changing tires, stuff like that. But I also reconditioned used vehicles to resell. And this one came in, and I needed a car. I had gotten a 58 Cadillac in payment for work from a guy I worked for like 3 months around the clock without any time off. You can do that when you're young and stupid. But anyhow, transmission went out on the Cadillac. It was a 58 Sedan DeVille hardtop. Very rare. In other words, you put all four windows down, and there was nothing between the roof and the tops of the doors. There was no center post on these. So it was an awesome car. 365 cubic inch V8, putting out 375 horsepower, something like that. But you could literally, and it weighed about 5,800 pounds, almost 3 tons. So you could go down the road and step on it, and you could watch the speedometer go up and the gas gauge go down. You couldn't pass a gas station in that thing. I think I drove it to Erie and back one time from the Reading area, and back when gas was 35 cents a gallon, and it cost me $120 to go to Erie, which is 300 miles. So that'll give you an idea what the gas consumption was on that. So anyhow, I'm gonna see if I can put this down, get started. Didn't catch it. So, that's nice. So anyhow, last night I tried to record this, and it came out 90 degrees, rotated 90 degrees, and it's such a pain in the such a pain in the butt with the YouTube Studio to rotate it, because you have to go back and select YouTube Studio Classic instead of the new one. And what am I missing? Anyhow, you got to go back into the code and take a line of code out to get it back to the tools where you can actually rotate the video. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But anyhow, I thought I'd just pass that up. Now, I am gonna automate. I'm gonna use power tools to put the roof rack back on. So let me get out gotta get out my tools. I'm trying to do this and film at the same time. So, all right, got that. I know what I'm looking for. There they are. Oh yeah, I'm looking for the plastic isolators that go between the roof rack and the roof, so you don't have any kind of scratchy going on. So anyhow, I'm gonna pause here. This is what I was looking for here. These gonna pre-assemble as much as I can, get it set up, put it on, and you'll see me back here shortly. All right, unpause. Hey, we're doing good. We're less than 7 minutes in, and I'm done. It was 11:33, and I started. It's 12:02, so just about half an hour to put this on. And the one thing I didn't forget. I just, didn't remember. Okay, same thing. When I took this off, I took it off as one piece. When I put it back on, I put it back on piece by piece. The only pieces I pre-assembled was the rail to the seal, and then the cross members. I disassembled these so I could paint them, and I put them back together before I put them on. And the thing I forgot is, when you have to put these back in, these end caps have to be off. So I had to, I just slid them both in from the back. They adjust fairly easy. So, and they lock into place. So there's a little spring-loaded pin in here. You push this in, and they'll move real easy. So anyhow, it's on. I used the Cobalt 1/4-inch impact driver sitting over there on the bench. And you gotta do it smart. You can't just get on there and hammer this thing in, because these are nutserts in the roof that these 25 Torx go into. So you gotta use your head and a little finesse on the trigger, and just bap them a couple times once it starts to hit the torque stop on it. Just 2 or 3 little baps, 2 or 3 little clicks on the torque stop, and there you go. So anyhow, it's all done. I'm gonna close up shop. Already turned the lights out in the spray booth. As soon as I got my last part out of there, I am. Let me explain myself. Okay, I've been paying my own way utilities since probably 21 years old, maybe even a little earlier than that. And so I am very conscious of what things cost, especially utilities. So I turn lights out. If I see lights on and there's nobody there, I'm going to turn them out. It's just the way I'm wired. I don't like to, pay for anything more than I have to. And through my neglect, I don't like anybody else to have to pay, because I'm too dumb to turn out lights when I'm done. So anyhow, long story short, she's all done. I'm heading up to Kirky Poo's. I like to make him treats. He likes it when I make him treats. This time it was a fudge brownie recipe that I make. I use a Ghirardelli mix, and instead of using water, This is just a new recipe I came up with. You should try it. Instead of using water, I use the juice off of maraschino cherries. I'm crazy about, what do they call them? It's liquid cherries, but I like them in dark chocolate. So this is a dark chocolate fudge mix. I gotta identify these keys. So, and instead of the recipe calls for a quarter cup of water, three quarters of a cup of oil. So I use half a cup of the cherry juice. Well, I mix the cherry juice with a little creme de menthe. So I have half a cup, and then top it off with half a cup of oil. I use olive oil. It's the oil of my preference. Yeah, who'd have thought this was a recipe or a cooking show? But anyhow, and then instead of egg, I get a large container of whipped cream cheese, and I put about half of that in to replace the egg, and it's it's really, really good. Anyhow, bake it required time, and then I put the cherries. Before I put it in to bake, I take the maraschino cherries and push them down in. I know where I usually cut my brownies when I make my pan. I get 16 brownies out of a 9x9 pan, so I cut it in half, cut the halves in half both ways, and I get 16 pieces. So each of them has a cherry center. It was inspired by liquid cherries, and as I said, I like dark chocolate as opposed to milk chocolate, so my feeling is the only word that can precede chocolate and still be true chocolate is dark. If it says white or if it says milk, in my book, it's not really chocolate. So it's personal preference. So anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up. I got to clean the windshield yet. I notice I still have, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, a little bit there. Dust marks on it from when I taped the gasket back on the windshield. So I'm gonna clean that up before I go. And so that'll wrap up this video. I know this is a little short. You're welcome. So anyhow, hope it was entertaining, informational. Like, subscribe, share. I appreciate all my subscribers. I'm up to 31, shooting for 100 by the end of the year. Anyhow, that's it for now. Talk to you later. God bless.